Number 1. Dubai's wealth comes from borrowing. Dubai often presents itself as a modern-day fairy tale, where the desert has been transformed into a metropolis with supercars, 7-star hotels, and the world's tallest skyscrapers. This image leads many to believe that Dubai's wealth stems from oil. In reality, even during its strongest growth periods, oil contributed less than 5% of GDP, significantly less than revenue from tourism, financial services, and international trade. Dubai's economic structure relies heavily on real estate, finance, and foreign investment. Iconic projects like Palm Jumeirah, downtown Dubai, and Jebel Ali Port were primarily financed through loans and government-guaranteed international bonds. By 2023, Dubai's total public debt exceeded $160 billion, a figure equivalent to the entire economy of the U.S. state of Kansas. Previously, in 2009, Dubai faced a severe crisis, accumulating approximately $120 billion in debt and only avoiding default thanks to a bailout package from Abu Dhabi, the oil-rich emirate within the UAE. Following this event, many of Dubai's debts were restructured with longer terms, but overall financial obligations continued to increase as new projects were constantly being implemented. Behind the glamorous image of the BURJ Khalifa and the palm-shaped artificial islands lies a large workforce of migrant workers from India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. They work in harsh climates for low wages and often live in dormitories on the outskirts, far from the luxurious areas they built. According to labor reports from the Gulf region, the cost of living in Dubai is rising faster than the wages of unskilled workers, forcing many to send a large portion of their income back home, barely enough to cover basic living expenses. Dubai is often lauded as a city that rose from the sands, but when you look at its financial and labor structure, it's a growth model based on debt, risk, and cheap labor, veiled by the lull of a modern desert dream. Number 2. When supercars are abandoned. If there's a place on the planet where you can find hundreds of Ferraris, Lamborghinis, or Rolls-Royces abandoned in the desert, Dubai is the name that comes to mind. On the surface, the city maintains the familiar image of supercars lined up in front of 5-star hotels and luxury shopping malls. But behind that glitz and glamour lie abandoned car parks, where the dream of speed ends in silence. Many call this a $1,000,000 graveyard, as the total value of abandoned cars in some of these parks can exceed $100 million US. According to widely cited statistics, more than 3,000 supercars are abandoned in Dubai each year, including McLarens, Bugattis, and Porsches that have barely been driven. The reason isn't the car's deterioration, but the legal system. In Dubai, bankruptcy is not just a business failure, but can also be considered a criminal offense. When borrowers fail to repay their debts, they face prosecution, asset seizure, and imprisonment. In this context, many businessmen choose to leave the country overnight, abandoning their cars, keys, and sometimes even paperwork in the trunk to avoid lengthy legal procedures. Ironically, most of these cars are still new, their paint reflecting the desert sun, lined up in police-managed parking lots. After some time, some are put up for public auction, but the recovery value is often only a fraction of the original price. These wrecked supercars not only showcase the excess of wealth, but also serve as a reminder that even in one of the world's richest cities, the line between glory and ruin remains thin. Dubai has become a place where ambition and risk go hand in hand, sometimes ending not on the racetrack, but in the hot sands of the desert. Number 3. Raising lions to show off power. In many countries, walking a dog is a common habit. But in Dubai, a more familiar image on social media is that of Lamborghinis carrying lion cubs or tiger cubs. For the super rich, owning wild animals is not just for entertainment, but also a way to display power and status. A lion cub costs around $50,000, and a photo with one can attract millions of views, becoming a symbol of entry into the luxurious world of the upper class. Instagram is flooded with images of lions sitting in the back of a Rolls-Royce or tiger cubs lying on gold-plated sofas. However, as these pets mature, their hunting instincts and wild behavior gradually emerge. Many are abandoned in the desert or transferred to secret farms in the suburbs, where conditions of captivity are often unsupervised. Dubai has had a ban on keeping wild animals since 2017, but enforcement has been difficult due to the secluded and hard-to-reach villas of the wealthy. Under UAE law, violators can face fines of up to hundreds of thousands of US and imprisonment, but most cases are only discovered after the animals have been abandoned or caused an incident. According to international conservation organizations, Dubai is now ranked among the world's fastest-growing centers for illegal wildlife trafficking. Trafficking networks for lion and tiger cubs from Africa and South Asia continue to operate through private flights, clandestine transactions, and online marketplaces. Many reports note that social media platforms were once used to promote and trade rare animals before stricter controls were implemented. If you believe lions belong on the African savanna, not in the passenger seat of a supercar, that view reflects the perspective of much of the world. Number 4. Iron discipline in the city. Upon arriving in Dubai, many tourists are surprised to find that even the most basic daily rules are strictly enforced. In a city renowned for its opulent buildings, massive shopping malls, and open image to international tourism, even a small act like drinking water in public can result in fines. Surveillance cameras are present in almost all public areas, from subway stations and bus terminals to shopping mall corridors, making even minor violations difficult to overlook. Eating or drinking on the subway, buses, and in station areas is strictly prohibited. Even in outdoor temperatures that can reach 43 degrees Celsius, a seemingly harmless sip of water can result in a 100 dirham fine, equivalent to approximately $27. The Dubai authorities claim these regulations aim to maintain public hygiene, ensure order, and preserve the image of a disciplined modern metropolis. On trains, electronic screens constantly display messages reminding passengers not to eat, drink, chew gum, or bring coffee onto public transport. According to the Dubai Roads Authority, eating and drinking on the metro is considered a public order violation and can result in on-the-spot fines. During Ramadan, controls are even stricter. Eating or drinking in public during the day is considered disrespectful to the religion and can lead to fines or temporary detention. This applies to both locals and foreign tourists. To adapt, many hotels and resorts provide separate, curtained dining areas for non-Muslims. In fact, large shopping malls often only allow restaurants to operate discreetly during daytime Ramadan, with doors or separate spaces to avoid violating religious regulations. For many visitors, these rules can be surprising, especially when they coexist with the image of a modern and luxurious city. In Dubai, even a sip of water can become a cultural lesson, reflecting how laws, beliefs, and national image are prioritized in daily life. Number 5. Women stranded in Dubai. As night falls, Dubai not only changes its lighting, but also reveals a different world. Behind the dazzling facade of its skyscrapers lies the story of night butterflies, women who once believed they were seizing a chance for a better life. They come from impoverished countries in Asia and Africa, promised jobs in the hospitality or tourism industry. However, many are drawn into shady recruitment networks. Some pay high recruitment fees, have their identification documents confiscated at the airport, and are forced to work to repay their initial debts. On the surface, Dubai shines like a Las Vegas in the desert. But behind the lights, thousands of women live in silence, working in secluded bars or serving the elite in luxurious apartments. Private parties at Dara or Dubai Marina often have their own security, carefully screened guests, and are almost completely isolated from public spaces. According to reports from the International Labor Organization and the United Nations, the Gulf region has long been a destination for labor exploitation and migration control, with women being the most vulnerable group, entirely dependent on employers and sponsors. Many of them suffer physical and mental exhaustion, resorting to various means to reach clients just to survive. What is particularly controversial is that in a city known for its strict Islamic law, these practices persist even in the heart of the city center. Human rights organizations note that many cases go unreported due to fear of deportation or complete loss of residency rights. Dubai maintains the image of a luxurious paradise, but beneath the surface lie hidden fates, reflecting the less seen dark side of modern prosperity. Number 6. Real estate not meant for living. Dubai was once lauded as one of the world's fastest-growing cities, where construction cranes were almost never seen on the skyline. For over 2 decades, glass tower complexes sprang up incessantly, expanding the city vertically and densely at an unprecedented pace. However, behind that construction frenzy lies a little-discussed reality. Thousands of luxury apartments in Dubai remain vacant, sitting idle amidst the modern urban landscape. Estimates suggest that over 30% of the skyscrapers are unoccupied, existing as empty shells in the global real estate speculation cycle. For many wealthy investors, apartments in Dubai are not bought to live in or rent out. They are seen as a form of asset storage, similar to gold, luxury watches, or works of art. In some cases, real estate also serves as a store of cash flow, especially in the context of Dubai allowing foreigners to own property in many areas without requiring permanent residency. Therefore, it's not uncommon to find towers completed years ago that show almost no signs of daily life. Some high-rise buildings are sold out on paper from the outset, but after handover, very few apartments are actually occupied. Lights are rarely turned on, balconies are empty, and common areas are barely used. These buildings, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, thus become unoccupied buildings, scattered throughout the city, particularly in rapidly developing areas like Business Bay and Dubai Marina. According to international real estate market reports, a significant portion of apartments in these areas are owned by foreign investors who do not live in the UAE and only visit very rarely. Viewing Dubai from an airplane at night, hundreds of brightly lit towers create the impression of a sleepless, bustling, and vibrant metropolis. But behind those many illuminated windows are not families, dinners, or everyday activities. In many cases, the lights are only on for security or to maintain the image. Many apartments are kept completely empty to avoid interior deterioration or simply to await the next price increase cycle. The contrast between the dazzling exterior and the empty interior raises questions about the true cost of construction that far exceeds the need for habitation. Dubai continues to expand according to the logic of investment and image, but the unoccupied buildings remain, silently reflecting a city designed more for capital flows than for human life. Number 7. The Dubai landmark is sinking. Palm Jumeirah is the world's most famous man-made palm-shaped island, considered a symbol of Dubai's wealth and technological ambition. From above, it appears as a perfect masterpiece, with million-dollar villas lining each palm branch and surrounded by turquoise waters. However, behind that perfect image lies an increasingly apparent problem. Palm Jumeirah is sinking. Geological analyses indicate the island is subsiding at an average rate of about 0.2 inches, or 5 millimeters per year. This is due to the fact that the entire island was created using pumped sand, which doesn't naturally bind together like land. Simultaneously, the coastal current system has been altered, leading to erosion and turbidity of the surrounding seawater. More than 70% of the coral reefs and seagrass beds in the area have been destroyed since the project was completed. Environmental reports in the Gulf note that the loss of seagrass has diminished the natural breeding grounds of many coastal fish species. Maintenance costs for Palm Jumeirah are now increasing. Villa owners spend hundreds of thousands of dollars annually reinforcing the foundations, adding sand, and installing breakwaters to maintain structural stability. Some coastal projects require continuous stone revetments and underwater dikes to limit erosion, causing operating costs to far exceed direct tourism profits. Once lauded as a symbol of prosperity and innovation, Palm Jumeirah now serves as a stark reminder of the long-term cost of defying the laws of nature for the sake of image and fame. Number 8. BURJ Khalifa survives by renting trucks. The BURJ Khalifa is Dubai's most prominent landmark and represents humanity's ambition to reach great heights. At 2,717 feet, the tower pierces the clouds and dominates the desert skyline. However, behind this iconic image lie often overlooked technical details. The BURJ Khalifa has over 200 floors, but only about 160 are actually in use. The rest is largely a hollow steel structure, built to achieve record height rather than for residential purposes. Despite often touted as the world's most luxurious shopping and residential complex, less than 20% of the BURJ Khalifa's total area is regularly occupied. Many ultra-luxury apartments remain vacant due to high maintenance costs and monthly utility bills that can reach thousands of dollars. Some owners view their apartments as investment properties or status symbols rather than permanent residences. Ironically, this approximately $1.5 billion building lacks a direct sewage system connected to the city's main grid. As a result, dozens of trucks gather around the BURJ Khalifa daily to collect over 15 tons of waste and manually transport it out. For years, these trucks have had to travel long distances to treatment facilities outside the city center, creating significant operating costs and traffic congestion. This is happening in a city often touted as the city of the future. In Dubai, you can live in a $150 million apartment and touch the clouds, but the waste disposal system still operates in a very traditional way, This highlights the stark gap between the iconic image and the actual infrastructure beneath. Number 9. A city with no native inhabitants. Dubai is often described as a city where everything is achievable. However, there is a rare element here: native residents. Of its more than 3.6 million inhabitants, approximately 90% are foreigners, making Dubai one of the cities with the lowest percentage of native citizens in the world. The city operates as a miniature global hub, with a workforce drawn from all over, from Pakistani taxi drivers and Filipino chefs to Indian engineers and African service workers. Emirati make up less than 10% of the population, and the majority work in the public sector with high salaries, short working hours, and stable benefits. This creates a unique urban structure where much of the economic and service life is run by foreigners, while the native community is largely absent from daily life. According to UAE population reports, the majority of foreigners in Dubai reside there on short or medium-term employment contracts, resulting in a constantly changing community. The consequence is a modern city lacking depth in local culture. Dubai's rapid development makes it difficult to foster long-term, committed communities. Many neighborhoods have short life cycles, with neighbors changing after a few years as employment contracts end or the cost of living increases. Many visitors liken Dubai to a giant film set where everything is perfectly arranged for the picture, but little reflects the roots of life. Above are glass towers and shopping malls, while below lies a void of identity. Dubai may be a place where people come to work and pursue opportunities, but for many, a sense of belonging remains elusive. Number 10. Be rich to be recognized. In Dubai, glamour is not just a lifestyle, but a social norm. From the car you drive, the watch you wear, to the coffee cup featured on Instagram, every detail is expected to reflect success. In that environment, luxury is no longer a personal choice, but an unspoken requirement, where image is often prioritized over reality. For many young Emirati and wealthy expatriates, owning a supercar, a Rolex watch, or an Hermes bag doesn't stem from practical need, but from the fear of being seen as inferior. In a city where neighbors can park a Bugatti in front of their house, failing to keep up with the image standards easily leads to being perceived as a failure. Shopping malls, therefore, are not just places to shop, but spaces to showcase status. Social media acts as an invisible ranking system, where personal value is measured by likes, followers, and the level of luxury displayed in one's lifestyle. In Dubai, high school students driving Bentleys to school isn't shocking. Weekend brunches costing over $1,000 per person aren't just about eating. They're about creating an image appealing enough for social media. In many cases, the value of an experience lies not in the experience itself, but in how it can be documented and shared. Wealth, therefore, needs to be not only possessed, but also visible. Surveys in the UAE show that nearly 45% of young people spend more than they earn, and about half admit they fear being judged if they don't maintain a lavish lifestyle. This pressure isn't limited to the super rich. It extends to those with average incomes, forcing them to borrow or use credit to keep up with the surrounding image standards. Sociologists call this phenomenon the gold illusion effect, where self-worth is increasingly equated with material possessions and the ability to flaunt wealth. In a city where everything has to glitter, the pressure to project success becomes an invisible burden. Many young people live in an endless cycle of consumption, where they constantly shop not to satisfy needs, but to avoid feeling left behind. Dubai continues to function as a giant stage of image and status, where the lights never go out, but the price is a generation living for the gaze of others rather than for themselves. Number 11. Dubai built with immigrant labor. Hidden behind Dubai's gilded buildings and opulent shopping malls is an area rarely featured in tourist brochures: Sonapur. In Hindi, Sonapur means city of gold, but there is no gold there. This encampment is maintained by over 150,000 migrant workers from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Philippines, who left their homelands hoping for a better life but instead are directly building prosperity for others. If the BURJ KHALIFA represents light and ambition, Sonapur is the opposite. It's a workers' camp with rows of cramped shacks where 6 men share a small room. Summer temperatures can exceed 50 degrees Celsius, while air conditioning is limited due to controlled electricity costs. They work up to 12 hours a day and earn around 800 dirhams, or about $200 per month. Most of this money is sent back home, with the remainder barely enough to cover simple meals of rice, beans, and water repeated for years. According to labor reports from the Gulf region, these wages are significantly lower than the minimum cost of living in Dubai, forcing workers to rely on their employers' dormitories. Upon arriving in Dubai, many are promised clean housing, stable jobs, and health insurance. Reality often contradicts the promises. Passports are withheld, wages are delayed for months, and leaving the camps is restricted. Several human rights organizations note that the withholding of documents makes it nearly impossible for migrant workers to change jobs or leave the country legally. Many workers toil under the scorching sun, building luxury hotels and shopping malls they never get to enter. Ironically, Sonapur, the City of Gold, became a repository of eroded dreams, an invisible but indispensable foundation of modern Dubai. Number 12. The generation that grew up without pressure. In many countries, youth is a time of facing student debt, housing costs, and the pressures of building a career. But in Dubai, a different generation is growing up, one whose path to success is almost entirely guaranteed by the state. Young Emirati, native citizens of the UAE, have their tuition fees covered, whether studying domestically or at prestigious universities like Harvard and Oxford. In addition, they receive a living allowance and annual airfare to return home for holidays. Upon marriage, each Emirati couple typically receives a free villa, sometimes worth over $400,000, along with a severance package. Their daily lives are sustained by a cheap immigrant workforce, from private drivers and chefs to gardeners, mostly from South Asia. Thanks to this generous subsidy system, many young people can maintain a lavish lifestyle, from luxury cars to extended overseas vacations, without even entering the labor market. According to Gulf region statistics, the proportion of native citizens working in the private sector in the UAE is significantly lower than in developed economies. However, the downside of this affluence is becoming increasingly apparent. Many young people grow up without experiencing real financial pressure or career competition, leading to prolonged dependence on the state. Private businesses report that public sector productivity is about 40% lower than the global average, while income levels are nearly double. Some sociological studies in the UAE warn that the generous welfare model may undermine the motivation for innovation and the ability of the younger generation to withstand pressure. When success is guaranteed from the outset, factors such as willpower, creativity, and competitiveness become difficult to develop and sustain in the long term. Number 13. A ghost town in the desert. In the vast desert surrounding Dubai lies a peculiar place called Al Madam, a village often described as appearing only during the day and then disappearing at night. When the sun shines, the rows of houses are clearly visible amidst the golden sand. But when darkness falls, the quiet and empty space gives it the appearance of a forgotten world. This phenomenon intrigues many tourists, and Al Madam has long been known as Dubai's ghost town. The village was built in the late 1970s as a settlement for Bedouin families, aiming to bring nomadic living into a permanent housing environment. This was part of an effort to modernize desert life, as the government sought to stabilize the population and provide basic infrastructure. However, after several decades, this plan did not achieve the expected results. Today, Al Madam is nothing but dilapidated houses, broken windows, and sand rising almost to the roofs. Sand has encroached on every hallway and bedroom, covering the floors and staircases. The residents left in silence, leaving the desert to encroach upon every living space. There are no official documents recording the specific reasons for this abandonment. Some suggest that quicksand, frequent desert storms, and harsh living conditions made the area unsustainable for long-term habitation. Environmental experts in the UAE have noted that settlements located on the edge of the desert, without sand barriers and regular maintenance, can be covered in sand within decades. When human intervention ceases, the desert quickly reclaims its space. Besides natural explanations, local oral traditions also contribute to Al Madam's mysterious reputation. Some believe the residents left too abruptly, leaving the houses almost untouched. These rumors, though unsubstantiated, have made the village even more attractive to adventurous tourists. Today, Al Madam has become a familiar destination for explorers and photographers. Sand spills over doorways, covering beds, tables, chairs, and stairs, creating a surreal scene reminiscent of a post-apocalyptic film. Many photographers describe it as a visual example of how quickly the desert can erase all traces of human activity without constant intervention. Amidst the dazzling desert sun, Al Madam remains, unassuming and without signposts, a silent reminder that nature is patient and will eventually reclaim what humanity has claimed. Number 14. The city with an excess of food. Dubai is often lauded as an international culinary paradise, where you can enjoy Japanese sushi, Australian Wagyu beef, or Russian caviar all in one 5-star meal. Elaborately presented banquets, rare ingredients, and impeccable service create the image of a city where culinary delights know no bounds. However, behind this glamorous facade lies a rarely discussed reality directly related to how Dubai consumes and discards food daily. Approximately 38% of all food processed in the UAE is thrown away, an estimated value of nearly $3.5 billion annually. This figure places Dubai among the places with the highest levels of food waste, while many other countries are investing heavily in waste reduction campaigns and supply chain optimization. In Dubai, the consumption pattern still prioritizes excess to maintain an image of wealth and a willingness to provide the highest level of service, especially in high-end hotels and restaurants. Much of Dubai's food is imported from around the world. Fruit comes from Europe, beef from Australia, seafood from cold seas, and premium ingredients from various continents. This process generates significant carbon emissions due to long-distance transportation and constant refrigeration. According to environmental reports in the Gulf region, the carbon cost of the food supply chain in the UAE is significantly higher than in countries with strong domestic agricultural production. A noteworthy fact is that a plate of fresh salad in Dubai may have traveled a longer distance than a flight from New York to Los Angeles before being served. The dark side is that much of this expensive food is never even consumed. Many restaurants and hotels prepare excess food to ensure there's never a shortage, meeting 5-star image and service standards. As a result, a large amount of still usable food is discarded daily simply because it doesn't meet presentation requirements or has passed its display time. If this rate of waste continues, Dubai, famous not only for its tallest buildings and most luxurious hotels in the world, also risks becoming one of the planet's largest centers of food waste. This is the less seen dark side of a culinary paradise built on abundance and a perfect image. Number 15. A dream built on inequality. Behind Dubai's dazzling skyline lies a stark contrast. Here, a tiny fraction of the population lives in abject luxury, while the rest eke out a living on the margins of that prosperity. At one end of the city, gold-plated Rolls-Royces and Bugattis line up in front of upscale shopping malls, 5-star hotels, and gated communities. At the other, tens of thousands of migrant workers live in metal dormitories where summer temperatures can reach 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 49 degrees Celsius, under minimal living conditions. Their monthly incomes typically range from just $200 to $300. While the ultra-rich can spend $50,000 on a private dinner, those who directly built Dubai's towers and roads send the majority of their meager wages back home to support their families. They live frugally, sharing cramped living spaces and rarely accessing the services the city promotes to the world. Dubai's GDP per capita is among the highest globally, but that figure masks a highly unequal distribution of wealth. Much of the wealth is concentrated in the hands of a small group, while over 80% of residents do not own homes, land, or permanent property in their area. This social structure makes Dubai function as two parallel cities. One is a city of lights, where everything is designed to showcase wealth and success. The other exists quietly, where migrant workers sustain the urban rhythm but are almost invisible in promotional narratives. This contrast makes Dubai a double-sided mirror. One side reflects towering glass skyscrapers and luxurious lifestyles. The other hides abandoned labor camps on the city's periphery. From afar, Dubai appears as a perfect desert dream, where all boundaries seem to be broken. But as you get closer, the picture becomes clearer. This is a dream supported by the sweat, time, and sacrifice of millions of people, who contribute to the city's glory but rarely share in the fruits of their labor. Away from the tourist's gaze, we've just explored 15 dark sides of life in Dubai. Hopefully, you've gained a new and thought-provoking perspective on this fascinating country. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, and see you in the next video.